How you going? Yeah, not bad, mate. Very, very good. Welcome back to Critical Footy. Today we're going to have a quick look at the 4 matches on this Super Saturday. 4 pretty good matches, honestly. And we'll get straight into it with the first match, Carlton and the Giants. This is shaping up to be a pretty cracking contest. Both teams need a win. They need a win badly. Giants have been on quite a slump. Really, they've looked pretty shit the last few weeks, honestly, and I expected them to be a lot better than they are. The Blues, I'm never convinced by the Blues, but, you know, they're sitting about where I thought they would. A lot of people had them tipped a lot higher this year, but I don't know about the Blues. Anywho's, we'll get straight into the ins and outs. A lot of changes for the Blues. Lots of changes. In we got is Harry O'Farrell, Lockie Fogarty, Tom De Koning, that's a big one, Blake Acres, another big one, and Sam Doherty. Out, Elijah Hollands for personal reasons. Jack Silvani got injured last week. Mark Pittonet, the big ruckman, got omitted. Obviously, make way for Tom De Koning. Francis Evans omitted, and Jordan Boyd also got injured. For the Giants, in comes Leek Alir and Harry Roaston. For 2 injured players, Finn Callaghan and Toby McMullen. Harry O'Farrell is making his debut for the Blues, so congrats to him. And another big congratulations to Toby Green playing his 250th game. Bloke's an absolute star. As we look at the head-to-head in the previous meetings, it's been quite even between these two teams. Giants won their last contest last year by 12 points. Carlton won before that by 19 points. And it doesn't seem to be based on where they're playing as well. You know, both teams winning away from home and at home as well. So it's probably going to be a pretty even contest. Giants really need to get their running game going, all right? The Orange Tsunami that everyone loves. I don't know about everyone. I love it. I love to watch it. Very exciting footy. And I think they can get it going against the Blues here. I don't know. I don't trust the Blues backline. I don't trust their defense, although it's started to look a little better. Nick Haynes found a lot of form, and he's going to be trying to have a big game, obviously, against his old club. No love lost there. For the Blues, you got to be putting the sword to Charlie Curnow, right? He's not lived up to his standards this year. Bloke hasn't kicked a bag in a long time, and I don't reckon he's going to do it this time because he's got big Sam Taylor on him, who's honestly probably the best full back in the competition. So I don't reckon he's going to find his form this week. But hell, if you're a Blues fan, you're just waiting for that day, aren't you? Waiting for that day where he just pops up and kicks 7. But you're hearing it from me, it won't be today. I won't be able to watch this game. Got to head down to the local footy, but I'm picking the Giants. I reckon they're going to get this one done for Toby Green in his milestone game. Orange Tsunami up and about once more, and I'm picking them by 15 points. Yep. Wouldn't be too surprised if Giants blow it out in the end, but 15 points. That's the margin I'm going for. And we move on. Game number 2 of this 4-game Saturday. This one is a ripper. We got the Hawks and the Lions at the MCG. Wowee, I'm keen for this one. Funnily enough, Hawks have won the last 5 against Brisbane. I didn't expect to see that. Going all the way back to 2020 when Hawks were just starting their rebuild. They have, I don't know what it is. They got the wood over this team. All of those contests have been in Melbourne. It's worth pointing out. I reckon they play again in the last round of this year, and that'll be at the Gabba. But, hell, we'll get straight into the ins and outs. In for the Hawks, we got Jarman Impey, Jack Gunston, Lloyd Meek, and Connor Nash. Ned Reeves is injured, Bailey McDonald omitted, Finn McGuinness has been managed, and Cashier omitted. A lot of big ins for the Hawks. On to Brisbane, Devon Robertson and Jared Berry in. Caden Coleman has been managed. He pulled up a bit sore after his first game, back from his knee recon. And Connor McKenna has been omitted. So as I just spoke on, 5 in a row for the Hawks. And it's been on the back of Jai Newcomb and James Sicily. They've starred in most of those outings. Sicily I spoke about after last week. He's struggling a little bit. Looks like he's carrying an injury or something, but not playing his best. Perhaps this is the game where he finds form. That's all I'm looking for, it seems, is players to find form in these games. But yeah, these are the toughest to pick. 2 really solid sides, and they're both coming off a loss. Usually, one of these sides is coming off a loss, and you go straight in next week, it's like, oh yeah, I'm picking them. They're not losing 2 in a row. So who does it? Someone has to lose 2 in a row, unless they draw. I mean, Brisbane actually haven't won a game in 2 weeks. They drew against North and then lost to Melbourne, so they're desperate. They're desperate for a win. But you know what? I don't think they're going to get it. These were the 2 informed sides come the end of last year. The 2 best sides to watch as well. I mean, the pair of them started terribly and then just started flogging teams. Hawks especially. They just didn't lose. And every game they won, they just blew the team out eventually. They did not stop running. And I see it happening again. I mean, last year they beat the Lions by 25 points, and it was just steady drip. They got out to a massive lead. Brizzy pulled it back, but then as they do, come the last quarter, they just keep running, and they run over the top of teams. Hasn't happened as much this year. You wonder if teams have started to figure them out, cutting off their handball chains a bit more. But look, I still trust them to get the chockies in this one. I'm picking the Hawks by 7 points. It's going to be a close one. Brisbane, you know they want it. They need a win, but it's not coming here. Hawks by 7, and we move on to the next game. And the next game is Pies and the Roos. Well, this isn't a matchup that excites a lot of people, I'm sure. But if you look back to last year, this was one of the more exciting games of the season. Wasn't a back and forth. This was one-way traffic, and then it flipped. I don't know how, but I completely forgot about last year's game until I had a look at it today. But then quickly got reminded, a 54-point comeback by Collingwood, and a controversial decision from the umpires, but the Pies got it done by a point. 54 points. I don't know how you give up that lead. I mean, a young side and an experienced side that just doesn't stop coming. Like, that's how it happens, but wowee, you'd be fucking sad about that, wouldn't you? So yeah, it's going to be on the minds of these North players. They want revenge for that one. But they're not going to get it. We're looking at first place team versus 17th place team, and I think it's going to show. North, a couple of valiant efforts these last few games. They drew against the Lions, and then they had a close win against the Tigers. So it's not like they're out of form, but they're also just not that good. We look at the Pies, they're sitting on top for a reason. Their class has just outshone many, many teams this year. When you look at their game against the Crows, it was just straight kicking that won it for them. Every other game they've played, honestly, they're against Freo as well. They just steady heads. They had a few outs that game, but they always find a way. Ins and outs for this game. We look at North. In comes Paul Curtis and Zach Fisher. Cutler blokes getting axed. Bailey Scott and Zane Dersma. Bye-bye. Collingwood. Out goes Steele Sidebottom, getting managed. That's a pretty big out. In comes William Hayes, making his debut. Congrats to William. I got a bloke by the same name, just done a vintage with me. And straight into the Collingwood lineup, so good on him. Looking at their previous matchups, I spoke about the one last year. Fuck, that would have hurt for North, but it's been all Collingwood. Some close margins. Yes, they won by 7 points in 2022, but you know, it's still all the Pies. Look, they're such a good outfit. They don't lose these games. They do not lose against the bottom sides. It doesn't happen. They're too professional. They follow the game plan, and they're very disciplined. So, not a whole lot more to say about this game. I'm taking the Pies. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. North's they're going to put up a valiant effort, but I'm still taking the Pies, and I'm taking them by 21 points. On we go. Final game of the Saturday. Late game over in Perth. We've got Freo versus Port. We'll get straight into the ins and outs with this one. Freo unchanged, and I love to see that. I'll quickly note that I think Sean Darcy, he's available for this game. They've elected to go with Luke Jackson again as the starting and main ruck. The one and only two. I think this is the right move for Freo. I don't agree with them playing two rucks. It just doesn't work for them. Luke Jackson, yes, you can play him anywhere because he is that good, but you got to put him in the ruck because he can tear a game apart sitting in the midfield there. He basically becomes another midfielder once the ball hits the ground, and he's always the one bringing it to ground too because he's such a good ruckman. So Longmuir's spoken about how it's horses for courses, his words, and they'll just pick the ruck that they need for the day depending on matchups. If you ask me, they're going to be picking Luke Jackson every week based on his words. I wouldn't be picking Sean Darcy. I'd be looking to trade him. He's a very good ruckman, Sean Darcy, but for how much they're paying him, it's not good to be playing in the waffle every week. Anywho, Port's ins and outs, and they got a lot of them. You got Asava Radaglia injured, Lockie Jones injured, Josh Sin injured, Jason Horne-Francis injured, Cutler Strings in there, a hip injury, and I don't actually know what Radiglia's done. I'll take a quick look at that. Oh, and what do you know? Another string. So many fucking hamstrings getting done right now. Perhaps these teams had a bit of trouble with their conditioning in the off-season. Not sure, but I tell you what, everyone is looking for that bye round, starting off next week. The head-to-head, very favourable for Port, actually. I think Port's won 6 of the last 7 out of these two, including the last matchup. Last year they won in Perth by 20 points. And that was a very big game too, for the context of Freo's season. That was one that they would be super angry about. They'd be ruining that loss. Hell, they lost, was it the last 3 or 3 of the last 4 to just get kicked straight out of the 8? Yeah, not good. They want to get that one back. And I expect them to do it. I think they found some ripping form last week. Their midfield is starting to click with their forwards a lot more. And honestly, with Horne-Francis out, I don't think Port's midfield can keep up with Freo's. They're 2 star-started in there, and they're going to run over the top of them in the end. I think Luke Jackson is just going to do what he wants this game. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Willie Rioli's 100th game. Congrats to him. And Hugh Jackson is making his debut for Port Adelaide. They've had a fair few debutants this year, trying out the younger blokes. I think they know that they're heading towards a rebuild, Port, so you got to get these young blokes in there, give them all the experience they can get. But yeah, I'm taking the Dockers in this one. They need to get this win, stick around close to the 8 because they're fighting to get back in there. It's going to be a tight race in the 8, and as I've said previously, I don't think anyone's dropping out except maybe the Giants. Maybe that 8 spot is available. 7 and up, they're very, very good teams. So yeah, this would be a massive loss for Freo. They really need to get this one. And I think they will. I'm picking them by 18 points. 3 straight kicks. And hey, that concludes Saturday's games. 4 pretty good contests. I've picked the 3 favourites and the 1 underdog, that being the Giants. But hell, you just don't know this season. Anyone can beat anyone on their day. Anywho, Uru Bludgers, enjoy the footy, and I'll see you tomorrow.